Because, yeah. Oh, that was funny. Wally's face. Oh, jeez.
Was it just the strongness of it?
I think whiskey tastes like trees.
Trees. Interesting.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the marijuana trees, like the
That's
actual
okay.
bark
Real trees.
Right.
real trees.
Well, I think, like, everybody, people's palates are fascinating. Like, you know, some people don't like cilantro and think it tastes like soap. And other people love cilantro. I'm kind of like, it's not anything to me. But anything horseradishy, I think tastes like poison. It tastes horrible and I hate it. Like, if you get like a yellow seedy mustard and the first ingredient is vinegar, it's going to taste like horseradish to me. And in turn, tastes terrible.
I guess I've never really been a fan of horseradish myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of an acquired taste. From what
I don't know if I buy the acquired tastes thing. I just think, like when you're a teenager, early adult, people are like, "Oh, beer's an acquired taste," or whiskey's an acquired, or coffee's an acquired taste. It's like, I think you just need to drink something that doesn't suck, of a decent quality. Like, of course, beer's an acquired taste when like the only thing people drink around you is Budweiser or Bud Light.
Yeah.
You know, like Busch Light, because we're in Iowa. But maybe just drink a beer that doesn't suck. It's like I think we talked about this last time. Like, I tried a Boulevard, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't terrible. I could drink this. This might be nice." And it was. I tried a nice scotch and was like, "Hey, this isn't terrible." And I've loved whiskey ever since. Coffee. I had good coffee, and I'm like, "Oh, this is okay."
Coffee's been a recent for me.
Yeah.
Like, within this last year, I've, like, got into the, I don't know, I'm not really so much into craft because I just drink the regular Folger shit or Starbucks, but I do understand the merits, like, that branching out.
I'll make you a killer cup of coffee sometime. My apartment, I got it down. Primo coffee. I spend way too much money on coffee. But I do like the whole pour over shit. And I'm super nerdy about it. So you'll drink that and go, "Oh, it tastes like." A lot of people will go, "Oh, this doesn't need like cream or sugar or anything." Yeah, because it's good coffee.
Be like, "See, it's an acquired taste."
Yeah. You didn't have to acquire this taste. You just had to drink it and go, "Oh, this is really nice."
Well, we basically already started, but we're back again.
I figured as much.
J Bash, 35th episode.
J Maxwell Bash.
J Maxwell Bash. Yeah. What? So, do you just like? Is that just kind of like your official title? Because I've just always known you as J
my
Bash.
name.
All right.
Maxwell's my middle name, so I like the whole.
You like the okay? So you're just
like I do it like it's a little tongue in cheek, but also I genuinely like it. But also it totally looks like an actor's name or something like that, which I am. So it works. J Maxwell Bash. I think it has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it.
I don't introduce myself as that. Like when I meet people, it's like, "Hi, I'm Jay. How's it going?" Like, you know. Okay.
I used to go by CJ, which I don't really tell a lot of people that.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. She's towed the line with it a couple times. I told her pretty early, she likes to fuck with me.
Right. Well, I have a given name, which is not the name I go by, but.
Well,
all of my name is that I go by is part of my name. I just altered it a little bit because I'm an adult and I can do that. And then at some point I'll legally change it. And then when people are like, "Yeah, but what does the J stand for?" J. Do you want to see my driver's license? I'm an adult and that's what I choose to go by. So.
Hey, I feel that. Well, we're joined with Jay. Some lovely Manhattans.
Yeah.
It was I was like, next time you come on, we have to do some with your special drinks. You're always on your Snapchat with your special cocktails, concoctions, so we have that in front of us today.
If somebody, I can't remember if we talked about this last time. I think I probably mentioned it because it's like a mantra for me. It's really funny, so I repeat it a lot. But inevitably, somewhat post-pandemic, when people are going to ask, "What did you do to get through quarantine?" And I'm going to go, "I ate a lot of mushrooms. I got really into pro wrestling, and I drank Manhattans by the gallon." So those on Snapchat, which is a little bit more private than, say, Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Have seen a lot of my beverage exploits, shall we say.
Sorry, I hope I didn't,
no, you're okay.
Blast out your stuff.
No. I think a lot of Manhattans because I love whiskey drinks, and I've been trying to improve my, cocktail game at home. So I'm a bartender, and I'm not much of a cocktailer, which I don't have to be because I work at a craft beer bar, essentially. So I have 40 taps, and then if people don't want beer, I have a full rail. So I pour basically, it's like a neighborhood tavern, so I pour vodka sodas and occasionally whiskey cokes, or the dreaded Long Island if, somebody's a weirdo and wants one of those still. No offense if people like that. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to get into this too much because we talked about this last time on the podcast, but you are definitely a tier up for me, I think, in terms of drinking. You had like all the concoctions for Manhattan, whereas, I maybe have a bottle of whiskey here once a month. So.
That's the basis of the drink is whiskey, so you got to have that part.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have sweet vermouth and bitters and like not just one of each. I have multiple things at home. And then I was working on a traditional whiskey sour in the last couple weeks, which means using an egg white in the drink.
Really?
Yeah, which sounds super gross, I know, but that's how it was done like forever ago. And that's if you go to a nice cocktail place, like most of them will have a traditional whiskey sour option. And you put the whiskey in. I guess the way I was doing it was, which there's so many different variations, and then there's a New York sour where you make it like you normally would, but then you put a little brandy on top of it. Like you float the brandy on top of the already shaken drink, which, since there's an egg white in there, you shake the shit out of it, and then it's like thick and foamy and delicious.
Oh, so it almost like breaks it. So does it go in raw?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, like you crack an egg and you make sure you keep the yolk out. There's like a little, cocktail or stylish way to do that if you want, but you keep the egg yolk out and then you put in the white, which is essentially flavorless-ish, but it gives it the consistency you want. I know it sounds gross, but it's awesome.
But I'm intrigued. Like that's kind of the art to it.
I made one for my girlfriend and I the other night. She was not a fan. It's like, no egg. She tried.
Yeah,
it's okay.
That's kind of the thing about alcohol. It's like it's an endless tree of different concoctions and different methods. And everything. But alas, we don't want to go down that road too far. This will go forever. The thing that we didn't get to last time that I really wanted to talk to you about was like film. I mean, we kind of touched upon your acting a little bit, but you describe drinking Manhattans, watching pro wrestling. Another thing that you're doing all the time seems to be going back to the classic films.
I go through a lot of phases of what I'm consuming. There's just so much content, it's hard to, especially being somebody that's into 1,000 different things. I envy people that are like, I like these 5 bands. I like this style of movie. I'm really into stand-up. What else? I don't know, whatever. Or I watch a bunch of television or just what's on Netflix. I'm envious of that. People who just have a very specific interest or line of interest.
I see.
Because I get kind of lost sometimes, like consuming 1,000 different things and consuming them as fully as I can. It's exhausting. And there's like this constant proverbial FOMO, the fear of missing out. I don't think if I don't have enough time to consume all the things that I want to consume, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm exhausted and I just want to sit down and watch some fucking weird movies. So that's what I kind of default to sometimes, I think, if I'm tired of diving into whatever it is, be it pro wrestling which is amazing and super underrated for adults, by the way. But we can talk about this some other time. Or whatever. It's the performance art thing that I love about that shit. I should have been in it. Anyway. So if I get tired of that or my huge deep dive music exploits, I just want to watch movies sometimes. So I'll pick some. I can even have an itinerary of these 5 movies I want to watch. I made a quarantine list, right around the beginning of all this shit in March. I was like, these are the movies I'm going to watch this, over the next month or 2. And I think I watched 3 of them. But I watched a shitload of movies. I just watched those. I watched 3, and then sometimes I'll watch something and think, this movie made me feel like watching this movie now instead. So I watched a bunch of baseball movies. I watched a bunch of Kevin Costner stuff in the last few weeks, and then so maybe you want to watch other 90s stuff, and then I wanted to watch Twister and just weird wormholes of here's these movies I'm going to watch today. I can get one into that and I'll feel like something else because I have too many fucking interests. So I'm jealous of those who just know exactly what they want to watch or listen to or into. It's
I kind of toe that line a little bit, because I have been kind of religiously following a list. So you said you were watching baseball movies. Kevin Costner, The Field of Dreams. Did you watch that?
I did.
Fuck, that is like if you live in Iowa and you haven't seen that movie, what the fuck's wrong?
So I grew up on it because that's from '89, and I was born in '85. So I mean, I don't know if I was watching when I was 4. Probably was, honestly, because my dad is a baseball guy too. So I grew up with that being kind of a staple of my household.
Yep.
So, but I hadn't watched it since I was at least early to mid-teens, I think. And I'm 35, so I feel like it's been 20 years if I had to really guess. And that might even be shorter than how long it's actually been since I've seen that movie.
Oh, wow.
So it was time. Like, I've seen Bull Durham dozens of times because I love that movie. I think that and Sandlot are the 2 best baseball movies of all time. But Bull Durham is also Kevin Costner and baseball. And so I just kind of thought it was time to revisit Field of Dreams, and I did. And I didn't know that I would be at the point in my life where the end of Field of Dreams would make this grown-ass man cry, but it did. So, that movie's fucking great. It holds up super well. It's so good. You had James Earl Jones in there, like all the baseball players.
Hell yeah.
It's great.
It's he's always known for Darth Vader, so it's good they brought him to the screen. They will come to Iowa.
Yes.
For reasons they could not fathom.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
He's an all-timer. And I remember him. I feel like that was my first exposure to him when I was a kid. Well, actually, Sandlot. Sandlot and Field of Dreams. He's in both of those. And,
Oh, he's in Sam?
Yeah, he's the owner of the dog.
Is he really?
Yeah.
God, I forgot that. I need to give both.
You don't get much of him until the end of it. When they, talk about his dog. He's, well, old Hercules? Why did you just come over and ask for the damn ball?
Damn. Molly, you want to pull that up? Kevin Costner, Sandlot. I gotta see the
James Earl Jones
image to
Sandlot.
It. Oh wait, that's who you're talking about. James Earl Jones.
Sorry.
Jesus
James
Christ.
Earl Jones. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
He's blind in it. And he has these big sunglasses on.
Okay.
Like the shot of it is great, and he comes out of the back door with the squeaking screen door.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on here? Yeah, he's awesome. I think that might have been my first exposure to him, and then Field of Dreams would have been right after that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird matching the voice with the face of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
What do you think about what's the fucking one baseball movie The Natural? Did you ever see that?
Yes, within the last few years, actually.
For the first time, or
yeah.
Damn.
I never saw it when I was younger. I need to rewatch it. It's a little foggy in my brain now, but I remember really, really liking it. It's a little weird, and it gets a little almost like that's supernatural, but maybe like a little supernatural.
Oh, it definitely is. But I mean, I think that's the beauty of that movie, though. It's like it suspends belief, like for the sake of the film. I feel like, but fuck, where's some other good baseball movies? I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a hard sport too.
For the Love of the Game, that's another good one.
Never saw that one.
Also,
is that the Sox?
Also, Kevin Costner.
Is that the Red Sox?
No, he's the Tigers. Detroit Tigers. He's like a. So it's a little bit more. It's like half romantic comedy, half baseball movie.
Okay.
And it kind of is like a timeline. It jumps around a little bit, but the basis of the story is he's on the mound for what's probably going to be his last start of his career after like a Hall of Fame, like 20-year career in the majors. And there's also like the relationship aspect. The woman says that she's leaving to take a job in England, and they were kind of like off and on again for the last like 5 years of his career. And so it's him like choosing what's more important to him, baseball or love, etc., for the love of the game. It's pretty good. Kelly Preston is the lead female in it, who apparently just died a couple weeks ago. Is that a thing? Could we get some?
Yeah, sure.
Could we get a fact check on that?
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Somebody told me the other day that she died a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah,
July 12th, 2020.
Wait,
okay.
So what else was she in? Because I'm not familiar with that.
She was.
Was she married to John Travolta?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think still.
No, they got divorced.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who would want to
Conspiracy.
John Travolta right now. That dude's a...
I mean, if I would believe any actor would like kill his ex-wife, it'd be John Travolta.
Well, also, I just kind of think he's not well. Like, I think that
he's insane, man. How much plastic surgery that man's got?
I don't know, but I'm almost kind of concerned. Like maybe to get more into your field. Like maybe it's kind of like a Kanye West thing. Like I genuinely am concerned for that person's mental health. Like, and I hope that where he's at, like it works for his shtick and his art form. But I'm almost just like that man needs some help. Like, if he doesn't, I don't know if he's actively harming anybody right now, other than maybe himself by just having, like, unchecked mental health issues and not doing anything about it. But...
like, even on an emotional level or a mentally abusive level?
Yeah. And that's how I feel about Travolta. I feel like that guy just kind of became sort of a lunatic. And I don't mean that in, like, a derogatory way. Maybe I should use a better word. He's kind of... I don't feel like he's well, and I don't feel like he's in a healthy, sane state of mind.
Not at all. Did you see The People versus OJ?
No.
Oh my god, he's in that one. He's one of the lawyers. He's just like fucking like wild, batshit crazy looking.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch that whole thing by myself, but Liz, my ex, she watched that.
Oh, okay.
So because she's fascinated by that kind of stuff, especially like specifically the OJ stuff, so she would have absorbed all of that.
Huh.
So I think I picked up on a little bit here and there. Is that the one with Cuba Gooding? Right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I did see a little bit of that. I think Travolta was actually like pretty good in it.
He was good, and like I think he definitely emulated the character, but you could just still tell it's John
There's
Travolta.
a little bit of like an unhinged. Like there's something behind those eyes, and it's not on the same level of anybody else here right now.
It's like when those actors pull off those really fucking nutty roles. It's because they're usually because they're nutty. Like Jim Carrey when he was what was the fucking movie? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
He was like literally going fucking insane during that time because he was coming off Man on the Moon.
Yep. Which is a favorite of mine, and
really, I don't see. I like Jim Carrey's acting, but I think everything else about that movie sucks.
Oh man, so I disagree wholeheartedly. Respectfully, of course. I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan.
You are
And
okay.
I'm a huge Tony Clifton fan.
Like
That's my shit. I love that stuff so much. That's like that's the same part of my personality that loves pro wrestling. Like the absurdity of it and like the performance art of it. It's of course Andy Kaufman also joined pro wrestling for a while with a gimmick that he only wrestled women.
Yeah. I remember that from the movie.
The quote in the movie is like, I want to be a bad guy wrestler in the worst way. I say that like on a weekly basis in my day-to-day life. Because I want to be. And I think it'd be so much fun. Not in a wrestle only women, but he comes out and like his theme music is a sound of a chicken like balking.
Yeah.
And so he comes out and he does all these movements and it's so absurd. It's such a great like heel, and then he only wrestles women and he pisses everybody off. It's so great.
I feel the same way about him that I feel about South Park. Like I appreciate the art form.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, yeah, they did do that kind of shit, but at the end of the day I just don't enjoy it.
Fair enough. I do love South Park. I think that's a little bit more straight up comedy, whereas Andy Kaufman kind of blends the line between like, are you trying to make anybody laugh here, or are you just trying to fuck shit up? And I think South Park still is just they're trying to piss people off. They're still trying to make you laugh the whole time, too. Like, there's always going to be dumb kid dick jokes in there. Like,
I can't handle the poo humor. That's what me and Molly were talking about.
The poo humor. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Like what was it?
You mean there was an episode where there was like an actual piece of poop who came to life?
She was talking about that Christmas poop. God. And
Mr. Hackey's amazing. How could you not love it?
Fuck. What was it? The World of Warcraft episode where he's sitting there and he like has the pan. He's like, "Man, taking shit." Oh my god, I could not handle that. It's hilarious. I get that, but like, I cannot.
It's a lot. I super get it. I understand. I really enjoy over the top shit sometimes. Again, that's why I love Andy Kaufman and pro wrestling, and just the absurdity and the performance art and the over the topness of it fascinates me. So.
What do you think of Eric Andre?
I like Eric Andre. He, admittedly, occasionally he can be a little too much for me. I love him. Like, I went and saw him live and I was
Oh, really? For real?
I love Eric Andre, but his show is a little much. I can only watch a couple at a time before I gotta take a break.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's so frantic. It's so off the wall and it's so sociopathic.
Hell yeah.
That it's kind of like It's Always Sunny, which maybe we talked about last time. I can't remember. I can watch a couple episodes and I just drained. And I'm like, I need to watch something where somebody gives a shit about somebody.
Really?
The slightest. Like, it emotionally drains me.
Damn.
Because nobody cares about anybody. And it's just a sociopathic, unrelenting insanity. And it's hilarious and it's brilliant, but I gotta take a break sometimes.
Damn. I feel you on Eric Andre, for sure. Like, it's almost like that. Like acid trip, yeah, like you said, like just unhinged.
Yeah,
like this beginning scenes where he's just like naked and fucking just like dismantling his genitals. It's fucking insane, man.
Yeah, it's great. Like there's nobody like Eric Andre. He's really found a niche of like people know who he is and what he does, and he's really great at it. It's a lot. So sometimes I gotta take a break.
Going back to baseball, and so like, how knowledgeable are you about? Like, are you like really into all the lore and all that, or not really?
Oh yeah,
You are. Have you seen the pigeon video?
like with Randy Johnson,
Where
like the actual game where he hit a pigeon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can we just pull that up really quick, just for?
Also, there's no other like it's.
Molly, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That could not have happened to any other pitcher. Because Randy Johnson is an all-time Hall of Famer. He's probably like a top 10 pitcher of all time.
Oh, for real?
Arguably like one of the top 2 or 3 lefties of all time. But he was this weird, quiet, super intimidating 6'11" dude. He might be 6'10". I think he's 6'11" though. With long hair that threw this like crazy left-handed thing, and you were just like, what do I do against this guy? And he hit a pigeon in live baseball out of nowhere, and it exploded. It's insane. It wouldn't have happened to any other pitcher.
Yeah, this is one of those things you can't believe it happened in real life, you know? Damn.
What would you even do? Why? That's wild.
It's like a pillow. Like the aftermath of a pillow
exploded. There's like maybe sort of a bird corpse flopping. That's really sad, but there's always been a weird mysticism to baseball.
Oh yeah.
So, sports was my first love before I ever got into music, or like when I was talking about how I'm into too much shit. Like there's also sports.
Yeah, and see, that's probably where you and I differ a little bit too, because like my father is obsessed with baseball, so I know probably more about that than a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So what are you mainly into in terms of like besides pro wrestling?
Of course, not just there's obviously the argument that that's not sport, because it's sports entertainment. There's a reason that term exists, because it's scripted, so therefore it's not a real competition, but it's more real than people think. But that's fine. Baseball, basketball, football. That was always my. I sort of liked hockey a little bit when I was a kid, because sports were my first love before I ever got into music or movies or anything. I always liked sports, and I played growing up too. So baseball was number one for a long time. Ended up becoming a giant NBA fan, and that's probably my number one now. But baseball's a close second. Like that's my top 2 by far. But then I love football, and I'm a Niners fan, and so they were super fun to follow this last year. Of course, it ended in crushing defeat, as all my sports life does. So it's been really fun it's been interesting the last 4 months, whatever it is, to just not have sports.
Yeah,
to not worry about them and not pour energy into following them and having your heart broken by them. Which that's the only thing I've experienced in sports, is because I'm a Niners, a Baltimore Orioles, and a Sacramento Kings fan. So in my lifetime, I don't know the joy of following a team and then watching them win.
Is there a reason?
Just hasn't happened.
Is there a reason you have those teams? Or
yeah, Baltimore, it was Cal Ripken when I was a kid.
Okay.
I was literally 4 years old and saw and I traced it because there's photos of me when I'm 4 with an Orioles hat on. So I saw Cal Ripken on TV and was like, I think that guy's awesome. That's going to be my team. Because even as a 4-year-old, I was like an opinionated shithead who needs to have his own thing and not just be like, my dad likes this team, so that's going to be my team. I had to pick my own.
I was obsessed with Donovan McNabb from the
nice.
The Eagles.
The Eagles, for sure.
Yeah.
The later the Vikings.
God. Did you see?
That went less well.
Well, didn't they win? They won like, what, 2 years ago? 2 years ago, did the Eagles win?
Yep.
They're like, that fucking city is insane, man. That, talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that show's spot on with like.
It really is. and that was a weird one because they were facing the Patriots.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I didn't want the Patriots to win again, but I didn't really want the Eagles to win because their fans are the worst. Philly fans are deplorable. A lot of people say that about a lot of fan bases, but Philly fans are exceptionally intense. You can find so many videos everywhere. Just Philly fan goes bonkers. Philly fan shits on the street after they win. That's a real one. It's insane. It's a weird culture, which admittedly I don't know about just much beyond reading about sports stuff. So it's probably a little exaggerated. I'm sure there's plenty of Philly fans who are not crazy people, but
yeah.
It's intense. So I didn't want to root for them either, but I did really like Nick Foles. And I thought it was a fascinating story about how he just couldn't stay healthy but he had to take over in the playoffs because their quarterback, Carson Wentz, got hurt. And he was on his way to being an MVP that season. He was having a killer year, and then he got hurt in game 11 or 12, I think. And then Nick Foles came in, who was a starting caliber quarterback but can't stay healthy. And he led them all the way to the Super Bowl and won Super Bowl MVP, and then started the next season as a backup. That's never happened. That's fascinating. So, I love that shit.
Damn, you see me more in this than I.
Again,
sure.
I'm into too many things. Someday I'm going to cut out. I'm going to pick one. Like, this is what I'm rolling with the next 5 years. I'll catch up on everything later.
So, how do you feel about what they're doing with the sports when they have all the? I think with basketball they have the digital audience, and then like they have the soundboard for the sounds. Like I don't know,
piping in crowd noise. And stuff
yeah,
like that. It's interesting, and I think the NBA's probably handled this the best. But also, the NBA happened to be in a situation where they could handle it the way they did because they already had the majority of the season happen. Like 3/4, whatever, 2/3, 3/4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was about a month after the All-Star break. So I think they were 62 to 64 or 5 games into the season, depending on what team, how many, and there's 82 in a season. So they had the ability to take the teams that they thought had the chance of making the playoffs and do a quick 8-game regular season to finish it up. But since it's only 22 teams, not the full roster of teams, they could all be in the same place and be in the bubble. So the NBA bubble is like kind of that's what they did. So you all hang out in this bubble. Nobody can go outside of it. You're all quarantined for the duration of the season. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
So it's in Orlando, and that's where like all the teams are and where they're all playing.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's wild, but they like had to do it that way to prevent the spread of coronavirus. And so baseball is already having issues like 5 games into the season, because they refuse to play in a bubble, which is understandable because they have a full season ahead of them. And
they move around too much.
And it's all 30 teams, so you have to travel 30. Yeah. And that's trickier, so I understand them not being able to do a bubble. But, yeah, I don't know. Baseball's already having issues. I don't even know if the season's going to finish at all. Or even make it to 30 games. No clue. NBA's done the best at handling it. I think they'll be able to finish what they want to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Disney provided the a lot of the courts for the NBA.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, we were kind of talking about this a couple episodes. I think what was it, the last episode? Kind of how all these companies have like, I know there's with the pandemic, there's a tilt. Disney's obviously probably increased their profit margin by doing that.
Which, there's a company that probably didn't need to increase their profit margin. It's Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
This side of Amazon is maybe like the richest company or whatever, on the planet. But
yeah, exactly. I ordered this microphone Molly has. I ordered that yesterday, 2 days ago. And it came today. Like Amazon, probably I'd say like 3 times faster than what it was.
Yeah,
it's just it's bonkers.
That's wild.
How that kind of stuff's
while
changing.
The rest of us are struggling, Amazon is just like boomed during this time. So.
I don't know. Like, what do you think? For this is probably getting a little existential. But what do you think? With everything going on with the direction we're heading in, how do you think we're all gonna end up by the end of the year?
I have no fucking clue, man. Like, I wish I had it's like anytime somebody comes to my bar that I haven't seen for a little while, like, how you been, man? I just shrug. I'm like, I don't know. There's this great gif of Lucille Ball doing this, like, snarky shrug, and I'm like, that's my response to everything right now. Because I don't know. I have no idea. And uncertainty is terrible.
I agree.
So, we'll see. I don't think we're a culture country that cares enough to actually do what we need to do to be proactive about it and kill this before it, just does whatever it does. So, which you can debate the severity of it. I think there's something to that on both sides. I don't know. But people aren't taking precautions or even giving 2 shits about the person they might be walking by who would be susceptible to it. And so we're in America. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
If nobody was aware of that before, the coronavirus has made us aware of that.
Oh, man. Somehow like a pandemic, we found a way to make it political.
Yeah, that's
and cause even greater divide into what's already like the biggest divide of any like first world country, at least as far as my knowledge goes. Just the level of volatileness is insane, and I don't think other cultures have that like we do. I mean, I'm sure everywhere has their struggles and their divides, and like different people on different spectrums, with different opinions, political, societal, cultural, whatever. But I think ours just has a particular brand of volatile, like intent to divide and distract, and so this has just brought out the worst in all of that.
No, it's fucking true.
So I have no idea how it's going to end. So I've taken great strides in the last like probably month, maybe even 2 weeks specifically, to just try to somehow find a way to relax and be like, nothing causes me more anxiety than uncertainty about things that are important, be that financial, professionally, personally, emotionally, whatever. I don't do well with uncertainty, nor does anybody, but that's when like my particular anxiety spikes. It just causes me a lot of strife. So I don't know, but there's nothing I can do about it except take my own precautions and try to dive into things that I enjoy, work on some creative endeavors and or professional endeavors, and wait for it to blow over.
Yeah. I mean, shit.
Or wait for our entire society to collapse. I don't know. Whatever happens.
It really is. It is really the truth. I feel like it's, people talk about 2016. I feel like it's worse now than it definitely, than what was back then, or than was 4 years ago.
It's only gotten worse.
So, I mean, I don't know. Who would have been the candidate that, I don't know, do you want to get into this political shit?
Not particularly.
Not particularly? Okay, let's just not. Then.
I mean, I can. I'll talk about anything, but I feel like there's enough of that.
Yeah.
I've kind of tried to take a little bit of a break, even when something makes me angry, and I feel like I need to
It's true, man.
Post about it or yell at somebody about, not yell at somebody, but, have pointed words and strong opinions. I feel like there's just too much of that, and it doesn't contribute anything. And anything I can say, I've already said. So I'm just kind of checked out. And so when people start talking about stuff in my bar when I work, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
It's true.
I'm gonna take a break from having strong opinions about political stuff, because it just causes me like internal strife and struggle, and it just isn't good for my mental health, nor is it good for anybody's mental health. So
No, this is true.
because nobody can talk and be cool, we've talked about that probably at times, but nobody has the ability to just talk about differing opinions and still respect somebody or have respect for that person in conversation. And so I just kind of check out.
Well, yeah.
Do you want to talk about pro wrestling? Cool, I'm in. Otherwise, whatever. See you later.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing with like people who like have that political as their like professional aisles. Like they seem to be like on the fringe crazy. I can't imagine how the people who are actually in that sphere, like, not that they're particularly good or bad people, but just how they're dealing with everything right now. It's got to be fucking insane.
Yeah.
Are you into foreign films at all? Do you dive into that? Or?
Like, I've seen some, and I'm aware of their merits. I just haven't ever been particularly interested in diving into that world.
Okay.
I'm sure it's great. I'm just not. I don't like subtitles. I think it distracts me from the visuals of films. And if I don't understand a language, obviously I'm going to need subtitles. So I don't enjoy watching a movie that way with subtitles. Though I have watched a few. I mean, Amelie's obviously a well-known to us foreign film that most people should see. It's great, but
wait, what was it? Amelie's?
Amelie. Amelie.
You want to look that up, Molly? I'm not familiar with that. Well, it sounds familiar, but I can't picture the word. Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. I forget her name.
Maybe. Did I maybe watch that? I don't know.
What is her name? I can't. Audrey Tautou, I think. She's been in a couple American films and is relatively well known, but this is kind of her. It's a foreign film that most non-foreign film watchers have seen in some form or another.
Okay.
It has some cultural relevance. It's really great too. There's so many American and or English speaking films that I still haven't seen.
That's true.
Maybe that sounds like ignorant of me. Just I don't know.
It's like we've established you're a busy guy. You
Also
have a lot of different interests.
It takes a lot of work to dive into multiple other cultures, like generations of film history. I can't. It sounds daunting as fuck, and that's as somebody who does deep dives into everything. So that's just not something that's really pulled me in. I recognize the merits. I wish I did. I try to pick one every year or two to be like, all right, I think I need to watch that. That should be important. But
have you heard of Raw?
Raw?
Yeah.
No.
It is a French film about this woman who goes to vet school and she develops a taste for human flesh.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's fucking way more graphic than I bargained for. Me and Molly have been on a singe of like just she likes the really weird graphic horror. Sorry to put you on the spot, Molly. She likes the horror films, like the graphic stuff.
Yeah.
You ever get into Human Centipede?
Nope.
Don't stay far away.
I assure you, I won't. I will never see that. I get it. I appreciate it. One thing I've realized: the older I get, the more easily unsettled I am.
I see.
My brain is extremely visual, and I can be very affected by visuals, and so
I see.
it's hard for me to watch things that are a little more on the gruesome side. When I was younger, I loved that shit. Like, Saw came out at just the right time for me to be like, "This is awesome," and I mean, there's no way in hell I could watch that now, though. Just for the leg cutting scene alone. Sorry, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen that shit. It's too late. I wouldn't even be able to handle that now. I would have to look away and go somewhere else. And that's just me. Like, I'm so easily unsettled by like visual gruesomeness. I can't do it anymore. Like, I wish I could, because I know there's a lot of merits to, like, not B horror movies, but just experimental, weird, out there horror films. I know there's a lot of.
Yeah.
It's such a unique subgenre, but there's probably some really awesome stuff being made. It's not something I'm ever going to get into. I can't do it.
I don't know. Raw might be the exception, but I think usually most of that shit's just overrated.
Also, I hate centipedes, so I'm never watching Human Centipede. I don't even know if there's actual centipedes in it. I
That's on
understand.
the second one.
Well, I'm definitely not watching the second one. I understand the premise of the first one. I get, like, humans. I've been told enough about it where I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Feed her!
I don't ever need to see that shit. I'm sure it's entertaining. I know a lot of people are like, that movie's fascinating.
It's really not. It's just like it's like you said, it's like a cult gore in your face kind of deal. It's interesting in its own regard.
The most horror I can do is so I really, again, my brain is extremely visual and my imagination is really strong. And I don't like being unsettled. A lot of other people do. They like to be scared or shocked into like, oh god, that was terrifying and exhilarating. I'm like, no, that was just terrifying. I didn't get any thrill out of that at all. I'm genuinely terrified, and I don't ever want to be in this situation again.
So you don't even watch horror movies, really? Like,
not really, no.
Damn.
It's just not something I wish I could. I'm just not really into it. I'd like to be thrilled, but I don't like to be actually scared, because for me, there's no separation of reality. Like, I'm in it, and it's genuinely terrifying, and I don't like that feeling. Other people do. The most I can do is Silent Hill, which I think is a genuinely really great movie and terrifying, but I don't know if I would ever watch it again.
Interesting.
But I remember that movie being fascinating, and I know the game, which I never will fucking play. It's like the scariest game ever made.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard. Like
one of the only like quality video game to film adaptations ever. But,
yeah, that is always the stereotype. I don't think they've done it yet. Maybe besides that one.
Yeah, there's a couple that are like okay. I think that one. And I don't know. I never played the game, so maybe people that played the game think the movie's terrible. But I thought it was like a really fascinating, legitimately thrilling and terrifying movie in a way that I could handle at that time. I don't know if I could anymore. So for me, I'll watch like Halloween, the original. It's really not even horror. It's like that old slasher stuff. It's more thrilling and suspense than it is actual horror. Like, I'm not actually terrified of any of that. It's suspenseful and I love it. John Carpenter shit's great. The original Friday the 13th is super fun. I'll watch old slasher stuff because it's more suspenseful. It doesn't border on like being genuinely terrifying. It's just you're on the edge of your seat, but also it's a little campy and it's fun. So,
if you like that, if you vibe more with that like campy style of horror, you should check out those later Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
Because you go into it knowing it's bad and it's not scary. There is some gore and some like kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. But
Right.
like, I don't know. I don't remember anything really fucking crazy. Freddy versus Jason is a trip. That's fucking...
I've heard. There's at some point in my life I'm gonna dive into those movies, like where Jason X is the one who's in space.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have not seen that one.
I can appreciate just like bad, over the top movies. I don't usually like to because I just think there's so many genuinely killer films that make me like feel things, which is what I'm seeking out.
It's true.
Is I want something to make me feel things. I don't want to like just laugh at stuff. So I like to find things that have a gap between funny but also a little emotionally challenging and complicated. That's more my speed. So Wes Anderson movies, that's my shit. But
Okay. This is kind of a loaded question, but like, do you have like a favorite film or like a favorite director or anything like that?
yeah. I mean, Wes Anderson's right up there. Coen Brothers, that's my favorite film of all time. I mean, it's not a surprise that a 35-year-old dude who looks and acts like me thinks that Big Lebowski is maybe the best movie ever made. I don't know. Royal Tenenbaums, No Country for Old Men.
That's a fantastic.
What else would I put in that top 5? Man, I love the movie Drive.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I love that movie
is
so much that I
great
would
film.
genuinely maybe put that in my top 5 of all time.
That
That
is a
movie fucks
beautiful.
me up. It's a gorgeous movie. It's intense.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. Everybody, it's perfect. It's so good. I would probably put it in my top 5
Damn.
with Lebowski, Tenenbaums,
Hey, respect.
No Country for Old Men, and I don't know.
Like Tarantino, Paul Thomas.
Yeah, definitely both of those for sure. So, There Will Be Blood's incredible. I would put it in my top 5 or 10, but like that movie's fascinating to watch.
Jesus fucking Christ! I want to talk to you about this. So, me and Molly watched that movie the other day, and she watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
And she pointed out 2 things that I had not realized within, reading up and seeing analysis on the film, seeing it multiple times. 2 things I had not realized. Spoiler alert for those of you who have not seen the movie. There Will Be Blood. Whatever.
It's 2008.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
2007 or 8. Whatever. It's been a long time. If you haven't seen it,
Get on your shit.
get on it. It's a top 5 all-time lead actor performance of all time. Go watch that.
Fuck yes, this is a great fucking film. But I did not realize that the kid was not his, and that the Paul Daniels character were twins.
Okay, I did know Paul Dano's characters were twins. I did know that. It's not his kid.
Because remember how that guy dies in the beginning?
Yeah.
That's his
Like-
baby.
Like the thing that like goes down into the pit
And kills
like,
him?
impales his
It's
head.
that guy's
Yeah.
baby.
Okay. Maybe I did know that. It's been a minute since I've seen it. I rewatched it a couple years ago after having not seen it since 2007, 2008. Maybe I did know that.
I mean, like at the end,
I knew
he
that
feels
one.
like bastard child out of a bunch.
Yes, there it is. Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
I fell asleep. That's right.
Yeah, you did.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's long, and there's not always stimulation. A lot of it is like tension building, which is really subtle. And so I could see people being like, "It's too long. It's too artsy. I can't do it." And I'm like, "Nope, just do it. It's so good." The filming quality, P.T. Anderson's like as good as anybody ever.
Hell yeah.
So that shit's phenomenal.
He's like our modern day Kubrick. I feel like in terms of how he like paints he uses cinematography and like paints
Yeah.
the screen.
And does just kind of weird out there
Yeah.
stuff
Ominent.
that's like its own little world. Even though that's clearly like an American, period piece, it's also like, what is this? It's unique enough where, yeah, that's a good comparison for sure.
Hell yeah. Boogie Nights. That's a great
Yep,
film.
I love Boogie Nights.
Fuck yeah. There's so many. PT, I don't know. He might be one of the best of the decade.
I love The Master.
Hell yes. One of the, and you and I agree on this. Like, that is his most underrated film. I think,
It's
for sure.
so good. I mean, granted, it has Philip Seymour Hoffman essentially being kind of like a L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology sort of character, but like an actually somewhat endearing one.
Yeah.
You feel like there's, I mean, he's obviously doing a thing and kind of swindling people, but also maybe he gives a shit about people. I don't know. It's just, that would be such a fascinating character study with him and Joaquin Phoenix.
And on religion, too. I feel like,
And it's really actually just kind of like a platonic love story between 2 male friends. and it's fascinating because they're both equally fascinated by each other. One of whom is like seeking something and is obviously super troubled. The other one may or may not be a sane person, but like he knows what he's doing. He's very calculated. He's probably swindling people, but he still is fascinated by and cares for people. And then he meets Joaquin Phoenix, and it's just this movie's. People that thought the movie was boring, I don't think have patience.
Yeah.
Like in general, that movie's so good. Like when Joaquin comes back towards the end of the movie, and like Philip Seymour Hoffman starts singing a song called "Slow Boat to China." The line is, "I want to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself, alone." The song is it's from like the 60s. It's got a little bit more pep to it. It's almost like, not Frank Sinatra, but more closer to that genre.
I see what you're saying.
This is a little bit of like that kind of
that like swing
jazz bop to it. Yeah. But there's a guy singing "Slow Boat to China," but like Philip Seymour Hoffman sings it a cappella in this slow, like intense, like angry, emotional way. And he's like, I need you in my life, and I want you all to myself because I think you're one of the most fascinating human being I've ever met. And the dynamic between those two is incredible. And he makes him that like weird drink. He's like, "Are you trying to poison me?" It's so good.
That shit was weird and like unsettling in itself. How like, what was it they were using, like gasoline? What was it? What was it they were using?
I don't actually know. It's whatever concoction Joaquin puts together. It's to try to, this is going to fuck me up.
It's like home cleaning products almost, I think, right?
And that's why Philip Seymour Hoffman takes a shot of it, and he's like, "Are you trying to poison me?" It's insane. It's so good. That's such a long, dynamic, tension-building character movie. And I get that it doesn't work for some people, but that's,
But let's think about Paul Thomas Anderson. He really has that skill of like, creating that time period. Even when he does like the more current modern movies like that take place in like the 80s or 90s, like in recent times, like any decade that man is filming in, he gets like everything around it spot on somehow.
Yeah, and he mostly shoots in like 35 millimeter camera, if I'm not mistaken. And so the visuals that he employs is so unique and individualistic to his style. Every P.T. Anderson movie looks like a P.T. Anderson movie. Like in the best way possible. I love it.
Sorry, last one. Did you see Phantom Thread?
Yes.
That was good.
It was incredible. Another, like, weird... It was a little faster paced and I think easier to like than maybe something like There Will Be Blood or especially The Master, which I think is kind of his outlier of... You really got to be a P.T. Anderson fan already to like that movie, but that's not the one you want to show people to get people on P.T. Anderson. You got to work your way up to that. Phantom Thread, I feel like, is a little faster paced. Everybody in it's really great. His assistant, I can't remember the name of the actress.
The old chick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old chick. I can't remember her name, but. I think she won. She at least got nominated for an Oscar for that, which obviously so did Daniel Day-Lewis because he does like one movie every 5 years.
They got 4. Yeah. You're already on it. I like it.
Cool. What's
Leslie Manville?
Leslie Manville, yeah. And I don't know if she actually won the Oscar, but I know they both got nominated. I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis actually won for that one.
He had to have, right? Because that was like him. Because that was the whole thing about that movie. Is he came out of retirement. I don't think he's done anything since. I could be full of shit. I don't know. But
accolades might be under accolades.
Yeah, go to that. That's
IMDb is pretty good about pulling up Oscar stuff too. But there we go. You passed it. It's actually academies.
Yep. So wow, got nominated for 6 of them.
Okay, so he didn't actually win, but they did all get.
Costume.
Yeah, so many people got nominated, including Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead. One of the guitarists.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did the score for There Will Be Blood, and I think he actually won the Oscar for that. So, Radiohead's one of 3 guitarists has an Oscar.
Jesus Christ, I did not know that.
But so does the Dean from Community.
Wow. That's some crazy shit. Well, I would hope that movie would have won the costume design, right?
Yeah.
Being that's all about.
Exactly. And it's P.T. Anderson, so it was a gorgeous fucking film, and the set and costume designs are incredible. So
yeah, like his attention to detail, like when I compare him to Kubrick, I think that's like a lot what it needs. Like the attention to detail of both those directors is like just
right
insane.
Though I think in our current times and the way that P.T. Anderson might get more props is that I think he was significantly less abusive than Kubrick. Because Kubrick definitely was really unpleasant to his actors and talent,
true.
which sometimes it bordered on, if not blatant abuse. Which, there's that's a fascinating discussion.
The argument, yeah.
If you got the best, talent and ability and performance out of somebody by being that way, is it worth it? I don't know.
Is it worth it? Maybe not, but to create some fucking amazing art, possibly.
Well, it's like if that person is able to get out of that okay and recover from that and be fine and it's like, but
if you're not Shelley Duvall,
if you cause actual trauma to somebody, what's more important, not causing trauma
Bali, could you pull that up?
Or like giving a performance
the Shelley
that
Duvall
people
clip.
remember forever? What's more important? That's a fascinating. And I'm very much on the side of don't fucking abuse people. You can get amazing performances out of people by not being abusive to them.
Yeah, it would be an interesting argument. No, remember that video? Yeah, the one.
Okay.
I'm Shelley Duvall. Because she got fucked. I don't think she was ever the same after that.
Probably not. I have struggles with that because I really can't stand Shelley Duvall as an actress.
Damn.
But also maybe.
Fuck.
I'm gonna.
Might be on mute. Here, you know what? Let's take a break really quick because
Sure.
there's been some crackling on my end as well. So let's just take a quick technical break and we'll be right back.
Got it. All right.
That is like my whole thing with this entire podcast setup is like, am I just gonna waste all my money and just break all of it in the process?
Well, if there's equipment that you're thinking about breaking that you would rather just give away, let me know. 'Cause I have nothing.
I can give you all my broken shit. Maybe you can fix it.
Not likely. Do you like Silent Hill?
Yes. It was kind of weird because I accidentally watched Silent Hill Revelation before watching.
Oh shit! Okay, and I never did see that because I watched Silent Hill and I was like, that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm genuinely terrified. I'm probably never gonna watch another horror movie again because it just kind of coincided with me being like, I don't think I can handle horror movies. It's too much. It's overwhelming to me, and I don't like being unsettled. So
Yeah. I don't know. As a kid, I got Silent Hill and The Hills Have Eyes mixed up in my mind a lot. So.
The Hills Have Eyes is too much. I definitely can't watch that shit, especially when it gets rapey and stuff like that. I can't. I'm out. I can't handle that shit. I genuinely start clenching my fists, and I can't.
Damn.
Ooh, I'm very sensitive.
Hey,
I wish I wasn't. It sucks, but it serves me well another.
Hey, that's not a bad subject to be sensitive to. So.
Agreed.
Well, we're back. Fuck. I don't think we'll get copyrighted for this, but
I don't think so.
we'll be fine. I just had to show you at least a little bit of this.
Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
I have seen.
Hello,
but I can't.
I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
Before,
Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
do you think Stanley Kubrick was just like
I'm Shelley Duvall.
tuning in, just be like, oh,
I'm
I
Shelley
want
Duvall.
her.
I'm Shelley Duvall.
What show was
I'm
this?
Shelley Duvall. Hello,
That's why I'm curious.
I'm
Why I
Shelley
didn't even.
Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
We get it. What's the?
It's terrifying. This is as scary as any horror movie I've ever seen.
Queen of the Magic Kingdom.
Wow.
Is that what the show's called, or is that just like?
So this obviously must have been post Shining, right?
Yeah. Post or pre?
Post? I don't know. What? So what is? So where are we going with this? Is Shelley Duvall
I'm just curious. At what point this?
permanently affected by Kubrick's?
I mean, she probably was,
Is it
wasn't she?
Kubrick or Kubrick? I say it different every time I say his last name.
I
Do
just
we
get
know?
one of those things where it's like multiple. You can pronounce it.
Or
Certain.
maybe it's that way so that you do it differently every time. And it just adds to the
Kubrick?
mystique of Stanley fucking
Kubrick?
Kubrick,
I don't know.
who is amazing for the record, but
No, his methods were. Let's see, 92. Okay, so that was post. Yeah, you're right. So that was post. So
Okay.
that's about probably all she could handle after this.
she's kind of on autopilot. I lost my mind, but I'm making money doing this, I guess. So here we go. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall.
Can I drink before and after?
Yeah. Kubrick's amazing. When I was doing my like old school film dive from a couple years ago, which we talked a lot about then. When I would post on Snapchat like next one up, and we'd go back and forth with what we'd seen and hadn't seen. And
That's right.
yeah, I watched a bunch of Kubrick stuff. Kubrick. I feel like I'm saying it with a southern accent now. I have no fucking clue what to do. His stuff's phenomenal. So again, it's that question of inducing trauma and abusing someone is never fucking okay. But if you look at it like 50 years later, it's like you got this performance out of somebody. Would he have been able to get that all-time work of art out of somebody without being that way? And I don't think so. I'm never going to fall on the side of like, well, abuse is maybe okay in this situation. Trauma's never okay. It's like, it's fucking terrible. Like maybe Shelley Duvall was never the same again. Also, her performance is terrible. Maybe that's me being insensitive. I'm never that way, but
no.
I can't stand that character. And just to, even though I'm the most like consciously socially aware, like The Shining's weird. Shelley Duvall's acting style always drove me bonkers, and like maybe that's because of Kubrick. Maybe he caused that. I don't know. I just know that when I watched that movie when I was younger, and Jack Nicholson starts going, I was trying to get work done, but you won't leave me the fuck alone. I'm almost kind of like, yes. And looking back on that now, I'm like, that's terrible. I should not feel that way. That's awful. Like, and think about it on screen behind the camera. Like, Kubrick is probably being terrible to her. Like, I don't know.
Bash your brains in. Bash them right the fuck in.
Yeah. That's I don't think that's ever a debate that anybody will ever be able to say anything definitively about. Like, there's no definitive answer to that. What does it take to get the right level of skill and talent out of somebody? Do you get some peak form of art? What does it take to get to that level? Do you have to be... And, some of the best musicians or actors or comedians or whatever are kind of volatile people sometimes.
Yeah,
and does that level of... Not always by any means, but sometimes... And it makes you think, does that level of talent and creative artistic ability come from being a little bit volatile and or mentally not well? I don't know. It's a fascinating subject.
Yeah, like that and drug use.
Totally.
I know you're not really big into hip hop, but you listen to Eminem?
Not really.
Ever?
No. He came out when I was definitively not into anything hip hop. What was his first album? Like 98, 97, something like that.
Yeah.
My Name Is blew up.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. It wasn't my thing. I was an angry kid that was into hard rock and other stuff, and so I just wasn't into that. And so, by the time I got to where I was maybe starting to realize that I could like some hip hop stuff, I just thought he was a little too abusive and volatile in his words and actions, and I just didn't want to be into that.
I get that. I can totally respect that. But it's kind of like the argument with him. Like, I feel like a lot of people might say, he was like at his best. He was at his peak when he was like doing crazy amounts of drugs. So
maybe, and I understand. Like, as somebody who, I understand him throwing words together, an actual flow as an actual rapper and writing and performance. I understand he's exceptional at that kind of stuff. But
and also I want to preface, like, I'm not suggesting that, like, you should do drugs for that purpose,
No.
Like, that's not the message we're putting here.
Unless it's like, weed or mushrooms. Like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Like harmless
See what happens. Put yourself in a nice situation, see what happens. Maybe it'll be great.
Don't be like Kurt
Maybe you'll learn
Cobain
some shit about
like
yourself.
shooting up heroin.
Yeah, don't do those. Don't do those. Stay far away from heroin.
Heroin, coke, all that shit.
But if you want to smoke a little or eat a little mushrooms, whatever, go ahead.
I agree.
Don't do drugs unless they're good for you.
take drugs like you would take a medicine. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've already been talking about for a while. I don't know how much of this you want to talk about on the podcast, but you have been kind of discussing, talking about with me, music podcast endeavor on your end. Do you care to get into what your idea is for that as vaguely as you can without giving too much away?
Sure. I won't give away the whole format because I don't want anybody to steal this. Not that anybody listening would steal it. Yeah, and it's not even an actual thing yet, so what is there to steal? I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but basically it's about just kind of like what's the most cliche way I can put this? Is a journey as a music fan. The initial arc of this podcast would be like an 8 to 10 episode thing about me and presumably another guest, which I got to figure that kind of stuff out, but I want one person of a similar age and relatively similar progression of music taste, but enough of a difference in age and culture and upbringing and taste where we could go back and forth on some shit, and it's not just like two people talking about the same shit they love the whole time. There's got to be some discourse and some back and forth and some variety. So I want to find, I got one of my good friends, I got him in mind, and the first 8 to 10 episodes would be a series of time periods of, this is when I first got into music, I was this age, this was my background, this is what I grew up with, whether that was anything, which in my case it was not. I didn't grow up in a musical household at all. And then talking about early, music that struck you or what you remember from your childhood pre being an actual fan of music and what had a mark on you and maybe why. And this led me to this, led me to this artist or that artist, which is still something I love. And then the next episode would be like the next progression of that, now that I'm like a firmly established fan of music. What was I doing then? What was the point of my life? Maybe if there's like specific artists that we're super into, we could talk about their cultural relevance and maybe if they're still relevant or not. And it's just kind of like a nice 8 to 10, maybe 15-hour podcast of just life as a music fan and progression of growing up.
So you're saying the whole series would be 8 to 15 hours?
Well, it would go way beyond that, but the initial,
the
very initial arc that I want of covering my early initiation as a fan of music and now, and just be like a lifelong of being an obsessive music fan more than anything else. And I think that would be fascinating to talk about where, and especially as somebody who listens to like everything, like actually not just like, oh, I love everything. Or really what? I don't know, a little bit of this. Okay, well, I genuinely like everything. Like there's so many artists I can name, multiple artists I'm super into, and that's my obsessive interest more than anything else is music. So,
yeah, you definitely have a wide variety of taste. Every time you're posting stuff, it's what was that last thing you just posted? It was like kind of like a weird country soul almost.
Oh,
kind of deal.
Probably Jamie Wyatt.
Yep, I think that was it.
She's awesome. She's like she's 35. It's my age, but she's been around. She's been performing and doing music for like 15 years. But she finally kind of broke out a little bit. But she's sort of outlaw country. She's also openly gay, and which is like a recent thing, and so she covers a lot of like societal stuff and personal struggles and being openly gay in the country world, which is not a thing. So, especially like a woman. Well, actually, I guess in both sides of that. I mean, whether you're a male or female, there's just not that kind of like open sexuality in country music, whether it's the good kind or the fucking shit kind. But
me and Molly were just talking about that, the stereotypes with the, that country stereotype of men who like, there's a certain kind of lesbian they're into, then there's the other kind of, yeah, right. It's like the butch lesbian they don't like, but if it's like the hot, unreal, what people imagine, the fantasy outlook portrayal of what they, is a hot lesbian.
Well, I don't care if somebody's gay unless they hit on me and then fuck them. What about lesbians? Oh, that's hot. Do you not see where you're being a problem?
Sheesh. Like, there's no consistency.
Yeah, no, it's...
Okay, getting back into it.
Jamie Wyatt's wonderful. Yeah. And she has a new album called Neon Cross. And I wrote a review about it on a website called Madness to Creation. It's a friend of mine's publication. He's been working on it a few years. He got to interview a lot of people. He interviewed Eddie Money, like the year before he died. Jerry Only from the Misfits. He got to interview Chris Jericho from the pro wrestling world, who also was in the band Fozzy. So it was kind of a crossover, which my friend that has this site is also a huge pro wrestling guy. But yeah, he's been working hard on this website, music publication. We wrote together like 10 years ago for another person that we knew, just doing like critic stuff, music album review, movie review, that kind of stuff. And so it's cool that he's been able to make his own thing. And he's been bugging me to write for a long time. And so I finally did. Because quarantine has been a time of me trying to find a way to not have nervous breakdowns and also work on creative endeavors. So that's what I did. I wrote a thing and it was short and sweet, but Jamie Wyatt's awesome, and I love like quality like outlaw / alt country Americana kind of stuff, and so she's really great. There's like a little bit of Tom Petty vibe there. She's awesome. So I played the shit out of that album, and I wrote a review about it, and I think everybody should listen to it. So,
I was thinking about this the other day, or I was listening to the other podcast we did. You mentioned that what was it, Drive By Truckers, maybe?
Yep.
The Southern American Opera. Southern Rock Opera.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually started listening to
Really?
that. Yeah,
Cool.
Interestingly enough. It is a very interesting blend between country and rock, something that, because my father, I wouldn't say he's like a hardcore country fan, but he really likes the old school country stuff.
Sure. So maybe you grew up on like Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and
not even that, fucking older than that. I'm trying to think
like
of
Marty
names.
Robbins.
Jesus Christ, I don't even fucking know. Almost like country western stuff.
Yeah, Marty Robbins is like the definitive country western. Like the song, like Big Iron on My Hip and El Paso, and
he probably, he liked Cash, but I didn't like Cash. I like Cash too. But I personally consider Cash more of like a blues. He is. I understand that he's technically like a country artist, but he's kind of definitely more in the blues rock.
He was. There's a reason Johnny Cash is like probably the most famous country artist of all time. Is because he, blended genres, and he was rock and roll attitude, but like sort of country content, but with like blues, R&B, gospel. He just he molded genres while still being definitively like this one singular artist that sounded like nobody else, and so. Cash is important for a reason.
What'd you think about Walk the Line? I just watched that recently for the first time.
Really?
Months ago. Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I liked that movie. I kind of want to side with Johnny Cash's actual family, who don't think they depicted him very well.
I did not know that.
I don't know. I hope I don't sound shitty or insensitive. I feel like they... Joaquin's amazing and acting talent. Obviously, Joaquin's he's a top 5 guy. Period. Right now, he's so fucking good. But I think his Cash performance was weird. He was really good in it, but I think he was kind of directed to be sort of. And I don't know if they intended this, but he seems almost mentally challenged. Not mentally ill from upbringing, drug and alcohol abuse, etc., etc. He just seems kind of slow to me.
Behind,
and I don't mean that derogatory way at all. I just I feel like he's portrayed as somebody who is a little on the spectrum in some sort or another. And I don't think that Cash actually was. If he was, that would be one thing. And again, I'm not being derogatory or shitty in any way. I'm looking at it analytically. And I feel like if I remember reading correctly, I think his family took issue with that performance because I think they felt the same way, and they were he was a smart, intelligent man. I feel like they portrayed him as a little weird and a little slow and a little on the spectrum. I don't know. It's weird. I need to rewatch that movie. It's good. Reese Witherspoon's incredible in it. She deserved the Oscar she got. And the music in it's great. And the guy that played the dad was sufficiently terrible.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little weird. You said you just watched this?
Would have been a month, 2 months ago, maybe.
Okay. Did you get that impression at all, or am I misremembering?
Upon me initially watching it, no.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I never really watched a lot of his tapes or didn't really know a whole lot about him besides his music.
Admittedly, I don't either. I know Johnny Cash's music very well, but I don't. Have I watched videos of him or read autobiographies? No. So I don't actually know a lot of his personal history or how he really was. I just know his music, which I love. But
I got more the sense that they portrayed him being fucked up quite a bit, which I think arguably he was.
Yeah, no, there was definitely some drug and alcohol abuse, whatever else. Most people in the music world that make it big probably have a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's not outside the realm of normal, but yeah, I don't know. The movie unsettles me a little bit, and I don't know why, but I think that's why.
Interesting. Maybe it's just a Southern stereotype. I like a country music.
Sure.
Oh God, we don't need to pull this up again. But have you ever heard of All Gas No Brakes?
Have I read All Gas No Brakes?
No. Have you heard of the YouTuber All Gas No Brakes?
This sounds really familiar. So I've heard of, but I don't recall what it is.
You should check it out. It's like a he goes to like all these southern places. We're not gonna pull it up because we watched this all the time, but definitely check that out.
Who is it?
All Gas No Brakes. He's I guess pull him up. Just pull a picture of him up. He's been hailed right now as like the last true. There we go. Andrew Callahan. He's like the last true journalist. He's like going to all these like fucking crazy role. He went to coronavirus protests, Donald Trump Jr. signing, and like just ran to all these like crazy ass people.
Okay. Interesting. Did he go to a furry convention?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Okay, I'm in. I didn't know furries was going to come up in this podcast. Here we go.
Oh my god. Have you ever been to a furries convention?
Of course not. But do I think it's a fascinating world? Absolutely.
I don't know.
Any weird subculture that's like not. I mean, if it does border on like an abusive weird subculture, I'm still fascinated by it. But like any weird kink or like subculture of here's a weird group of people that are super into this thing that most other people aren't going to understand. That shit just fascinates me because I don't know. I want to learn things and be aware of other cultures and have perspective, and so any of that kind of stuff I'm super into. I probably love this. I've definitely seen like All Gas No Brakes pop up on things that I've looked at, so I'm sure it's up my alley. But
yeah, it's been called the it's like the Eric Andre show, but it's reversed. Like the interviewer is normal and everybody else is fucking Eric Andre.
Okay. Oh, here. He's been on the road documenting the strange subcultural hinterlands of U.S. society. Yeah, perfect. There you go. I'd be super into that.
That's a good thing to watch tripping.
Yeah.
Just like
Okay.
just
Noted.
like
Noted.
I don't know, but I like watching really weird out there shit.
Yeah.
We were watching me and Molly were watching this really like scary, creepy claymation the other day. Like what was it? Mark Twain?
The Mark Twain one, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I'm the master of death, and he was like killing like these little like claymation people, and it was like really fucking weird, man. I just
But
like
it's Mark Twain.
it was like the character is Mark Twain. I don't know. It's this weird kids movie. I don't really know a whole lot about the movie.
What the hell?
Jeez, do we have? Yeah,
We're gonna have.
now we have to.
This is
point.
like
Molly, you have like the whole.
What?
You have like the whole thing in front of it.
What?
We well, on the plus side, we again got a photo of this Andrew Callaghan guy with a bunch of furries, which hopefully people watching this can see because it's a really great photograph with some really terrifying furries.
Dude, I don't think I'd be able to handle it.
They're
right there.
Did you ever see?
Or the first one?
The third one.
Did you ever see Bored to Death?
Bored to Death? Or?
Yeah, the HBO show.
No, I did not.
Oh man. So it has Jason
I'm
Schwartzman.
Teresa Greenfield. I will take
boy.
a dime of corporate pack.
Teresa Greenfield ads, man. They're everywhere.
I do not know anything.
Teresa Greenfield is a liar. Okay.
That's the thing.
It's so blatantly like slanderous bullshit. Maybe she is. I don't know, but I can't handle it.
Well, yeah, it's somebody just paying a lot of money. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it amounts to.
I'm Joni Ernst, and I approve this ad, which is a hit piece against the person I may be running against, or don't support. I can't.
A mysterious stranger. Hello.
Who are you?
An angel.
Wow.
What's your name? Satan. What's the matter?
Does he have a frog in his overalls?
Only it's
Yeah.
sure. Sorry.
I did not notice that, actually. Damn.
Please come in.
Wow, that cigar was already cut and lit and ready to go.
Come on!
Yeah.
It's quite the skill. Also, is that Mark Twain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the Albert Einstein looking guy, yeah.
What the fuck? Amazing. It's like an island.
This is bonkers. Hopefully there's no copyright infringement for watching this.
I would hope not. We'll see. We'll take it.
It comes
What's your name?
naturally to Satan. Serious things. Are you hungry? Sure am.
What kind of fruit do you like the most?
Oranges.
Apples?
Grapes.
They all like fruit the most. Okay, weird.
It's the fucking 80s or whatever, man. People ate naturally. They didn't eat fucking...
This is from the 80s?
Probably. This is when they made this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, we have to find the year on this. This is bonkers.
Oh boy.
Can we help?
You may make some people.
I'll make the king and queen.
1985.
That is the year I was born.
It's called The Adventures of Mark Twain.
What the fuck?
Look at that little village.
How many drugs were involved in the making of this? Whatever this is. Is this
Cocaine. It had to be cocaine.
Is a movie a TV series? Like, it's a movie. How long is
Looks
it?
like my pap on
An hour and
Saturday night.
26 minutes.
Oh my god, I'm never watching this high.
Look, they're moving.
Oh my god.
The first time I did mushrooms, which we maybe talked about a little bit,
Yes.
we watched a movie called Mirror Mask. Are you aware of Mirror Mask? Okay. I think that's what it was called. It's what my friend, who was the supplier of... Oh, yeah, I'm hitting microphones. Sorry. It was the movie that she suggested we watch to properly trip a little bit.
Let's see. Get into it. Mirror Mask.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I barely remember it because it was my first time eating mushrooms. I was just high enough to not have any concept of time or anything. So, and I just laughed. We, like, cry laughed for like 3 hours. Which could have been 3 minutes, I have no idea. What is happening? This is terrifying.
Fools. What fascinations there are on this planet.
Wow.
Strange.
This is for kids. Like, keep that in mind.
Curious.
No, it's not.
This is.
What?
This is for children.
It's a family movie.
We have a storm
It's
now.
listed as
An
animation.
earthquake, if you like. You must stand aside. Out of danger.
But yeah, I watched this last time I tripped. It was insane.
I would never watch this one. Like, I understand that, and I understand the appeal, but this would genuinely terrify me.
Well, see, and I kind of want to talk about this. I started out the trip with, I told you that. I was talking to you while I was tripping. Papillion, or what, Papillon, I cannot pronounce it.
Which you were watching the old one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a weird movie to start tripping.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it started peaking, like, right when he was, like, in prison. And, like, bouncing off the walls and shit.
Okay. Papillon's a pretty good movie. I actually quite like the remake.
Oh.
The original, though, is a little too, like...
I do not know. Like
It's dragged out.
It's almost campy a little bit at times, too. And a little too long. I don't know. Everybody in it's great, though. Like Hoffman and Stephen Queen. Fuck yeah.
We could make more sometime. If we need them.
That is the proper facial expression. All 3 of those kids had the proper facial expression for that response.
I would have left way earlier, though. I would have been like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go.
I can't believe we're watching this, honestly. This is terrifying.
All right. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good at this point. But that's, yeah.
Wow. How did this even come up?
What was it?
How did we get to this?
Claymation, Mark Twain.
Boy, if there's a part of the podcast where people are like, all right, I probably this is going to be it. They don't even remember how they started watching this shit. I gotta go. Kid, but
No, you're good. It's the McAllister Hours, freeformed as fuck.
Sure.
No, that's why I appreciate having you on. It's like, we don't need to, like, plan anything when you come on.
We can freeform. It's fun.
You were just...
Oh, at one point we were talking about my music podcast.
Yes. I was just thinking that.
And then eventually we got onto Johnny Cash and whether or not they portrayed him as somebody who was mentally challenged. And then inevitably we ended up
somehow we got
The
to Mark
Adventures of Mark Twain, a really terrifying claymation show from 1985, which is definitely family-oriented.
110%.
Wow.
You know, a lot of that shit that was made back then in general was just really fucked up. Like
Well,
how
it's like
racist Disney is. Like
Oh
Peter
my
Pan.
God.
Oh my god.
Or like if you watch old like Popeye cartoons, and like he goes to him and I think it's Bluto, the big dude who like they're both competing for Olive Oil's love, which I don't know why you'd want to do that. It's
That's
insufferable, but that's fine.
Yeah. Right.
They're both at a carnival, And like they end up at this game where the game is you throw balls in a black man's face who's stuck in a hole in the wall, and it's like, what the fuck? There's some crazy old racist shit in those cartoons.
Damn, I didn't even know about that.
Yep.
Wow.
So this podcast I'm doing is going to be really great.
It's not going to have anything to do with. We're not going to be racist at all. I really hope I'm not racist in the podcast. I really don't think I am. Molly's like, you're ridiculous.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Well, so the whole podcast idea is just like the first 8 to 10 episodes, which will probably be in theory close to 15 hours of just talking about one's journey as a music fan and just what I listened to when I was 12 and decided I liked music, and what I listen to now as a 35-year-old who has spent obsessive countless hours like exploring music. I think it's a fascinating journey as somebody being interested in other people's art and what it means to them, and I think it'd be a really great podcast. And then after that initial arc of establishing me and the other hosts, like life as music fans and our taste, we can go anywhere we want. And then it would just kind of be a, not free form, but like each episode could be different. Like one episode I could have a friend on who loves the Stones, and we'll talk about the Stones for an hour and a half. Like another episode will be, I don't know, Jamie Wyatt just came out with a new album called Neon Cross. Let's talk about it for 45 minutes and why it's a great album of 2020, and you should fucking listen to it, even though quarantine is crazy and pandemics are nuts and who knows what's happening. But here's a nice, bright, shiny spot of musical, creative, artistic talent. So we could go anywhere with it after that. And so I think at some point it would just be this catalog of podcast episodes about music. And I cover so many different genres in my own personal interests that somebody could just tune in, listen to that first arc, get an idea of what our personalities are, what our sense of humor would be, how much we talk about like societal relevance and the weird shit in different artists, and then they could just kind of pick and choose. Like, well, I don't care about this, or I don't care about metal music, but I love country stuff, or I love 90s alt rock, or I love hip hop, or whatever. If somebody could find something to be into and listen to those episodes, and we would just have such a vast backlog of topics we've covered. So I don't think it would have to be, like presently relevant. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to listen in order. You don't have to listen to. And I think that would make it something that could grow into a thing, because it doesn't have to be time sensitive. You don't have to start this show at the beginning of the first season and watch all the way through. It's kind of episodic, which television I don't like, but I feel like podcast wise it'd be great. So
yeah, it would definitely work on that front. I feel like a lot better. Yeah. And podcasts in general is just easier to listen to, I feel like. Yeah. In general. Obviously I don't want to take away from your podcast, so I don't want to like do one of your episodes on here. But you're talking about like relevancy and like what you think is relevant in this day and age, like the last 1 or 2 years, like cross genres, like who would you say is one or maybe a couple of like the artists that you say are like really relevant and really kind of, I don't know, in a really cliche way, like changing the game?
Oh boy.
Is that too broad of a question, perhaps?
It doesn't have to be. It's more I've had a little bit of and me being it's like broad as interests, I'm like I could have so many answers to that question. It depends. Do you mean who I think are more currently really important artists?
Sure. Yeah. I guess that's.
Fuck, I'm just gonna go back to Jamie Wyatt then, because that's who I've listened to a lot of lately, and she's an openly queer, openly gay country artist. Like, that's not a thing. It is now.
Yeah.
In 2020, it is now, and she's fucking awesome, and people should listen to her. So that's like a representation matters. I don't think enough people care about that. It's like maybe there's always going to be something that you can think of, whether it's taste-wise or opinion-wise or kink-wise or whatever. Like, there's always going to be something that, no matter how weird you think something is, somebody somewhere is into that. Or, like, somebody of this demographic is into this thing. And that's going to be weird for them. Like, maybe there's, like, a 16-year-old a gay teenager girl in some rural fucking town in who knows where in America, and she loves country music, but like she just doesn't identify with any of the people in it or any of the people that listen to it, but she still loves it. And along comes somebody like Jamie Wyatt, who's like, I'm a badass bitch, and you should listen to my music, and I am openly queer, and you can be too. Like, that shit's so fucking important, and we don't have any of that. And so I think somebody like her is really important, because that kid's going to be like, somebody understands me, and I'm going to be less depressed and anxious about trying to identify with people, which is so fucking hard in our current culture. So,
That's I appreciate
not to go on too much of a tangent, but that's, you know, I think she's really important, and I have loved that album more than I've loved just about any in 2020. So I think it's really important, and I think her music is great, and I think her voice is great. So
I don't mean to come off in any certain way, but is there anything, like, because that is important, I think, in a large way, but in a sense that can also be construed as like you're kind of putting that in a box in terms of like, you know, somebody coming out as this is like the importance of it. Do you think there's anything else at play besides just that, the fact that she's in that position where she's come out in that genre, that makes her in that caliber, I guess, or as important? Like, well, I guess what other factors go into that, maybe?
Well, I mean, it's just not something that exists.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, it's just, there isn't, like, I mean, to my knowledge, there's no other, like, openly gay country artist. Like, really at all. Maybe,
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Probably.
It's just, I mean, that's the most, which, you know, just to cover our bases, like, there's a lot of great country music, and there's a lot of really garbage country music that shouldn't be called country. Like, so stuff that's on the radio, people like Toby Keith or Florida Georgia Line, they can all fuck off. It's not genuine country music. It's pandering, money-making bullshit. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like the worst abomination in music history. Again, I've had a little bit of alcohol, and I feel really strongly about that, so here we go. But I just don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's anybody else out there like that, and so I think she's, like, hugely important. And I already think, and I think she's a fucking star musically. Like, she's so good. Her songs are so good. Shooter Jennings, who was Waylon Jennings' kid, produced the album. He's really good, too, in his own musically, not as a producer, but as an artist as well. He produced her album, and it sounds so good, and her writing is so good, her singing is so good, and her content is, like, hyper relevant in a genre where they really haven't covered a lot of that stuff.
I see what you're saying. So it's like she's bringing like a new angle.
Yeah, totally.
To, like, the
and, like, to societal relevance. Like, there's just there are, and again, this goes back to me saying, however niche it might be, there's somebody somewhere who is some unique demographic of kid who's struggling to identify with people because they're into this, but they're this, and there isn't other people out there like that. But then she finds this person, you know, and it clicks. And she goes, holy shit, there's somebody else like me. Like, representation fucking matters. Like, Black Panther, like a black superhero, was huge for people. Like, holy shit, this entire genre has just been a bunch of white people. Like, it's fun, but I don't really identify with it, but now I do. So, it just, representation matters, and I don't think our culture's cared enough about that until the last, like, 4 or 5 years, when it's really been like, yeah, you know, if you're making a movie about the lead, the main character is trans, like, maybe have somebody that's actually trans play that role. I don't know. That kind of stuff. Just people of all walks of life need to be able to see somebody in a position of power that is like them. And that inspires them and makes them think like, hey, I'm not a weirdo. I'm okay. I can do whatever I want. So.
That's interesting. I never saw Black Panther.
Yeah, really?
To be honest, I'm not really into like the whole like Marvel.
Oh, that's fine. If it's just
thing.
not your, you know, I mean, it's good. I like it just from like a movie nerd perspective. I think it's like a little overrated, even though I really liked the movie. Like, people went and saw it like multiple times in theaters, like, and just even friends of mine, and I get it, but also again, it's representation matters. If it's a black kid who's super into superheroes, and all of a sudden Black Panther comes out, he's like, holy fucking shit, this is amazing. Like, I super get going to see that like 1,000 times. Like, it's awesome. It's like the first time in that person's life they saw somebody huge that was culturally relevant in this, you know, weird Hollywood world we live in. But yeah, just from a movie perspective, I thought it was like a little overrated, but it's really good. Michael B. Jordan's fantastic in it as a bad guy. He's so good. The main guy's great. The lead female whose name I can't remember, and I feel bad about it. She's basically like the general in the army
Panther.
of that
Molly,
of those people.
Black Panther. Sorry.
She's super badass. It's really great. It's really entertaining. I probably need to rewatch it. Yeah. Representation matters. That's what I will say.
So, what chick? Little White? Lydia White?
I don't know how to say it. Okoye. I don't know. Denal Guerrera? Boy, I'm murdering that. I'm so sorry. That person, that character, she's like the general in that army.
Oh, okay.
In Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther's character army, she's like the general in it. He's like the leader of their people. She's like kind of a general in their army. I don't know if that's the accurate term, but she's super badass. She's a really great character, you know. So it's an awesome movie. I thought it just like from a movie nerd's perspective, I thought it got a little overrated, but it was great. It deserved all the accolades. You know, so many kids got to watch this big budget crazy thing with somebody that looks like them in a position of power and glory that they never got to see before. So, you know,
yeah,
it's awesome.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I guess I'm just not into the whole Marvel thing as a whole. Like, we were watching the old Spider-Man the other day, like the Tobey Maguire one.
Oh boy,
you might not be a fan of that. Or?
Okay, so 1 and 2 are pretty great. 2 especially is really great.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I genuinely think Spider-Man 2 is one of the best like superhero movies.
I'm so glad you fucking said that because I agree.
Dr. Octopus is the shit, and Alfred Molina is such a great actor, and that character is such a great villain that you can almost understand. But it's like the action scenes in that were fucking revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah. How they do all that?
The fight scenes between Spider-Man and Doc Ock were so intense and unique. I'd never seen anything like it. That movie stands up, man. It's so good. Spider-Man 3 is garbage.
Yeah, they fucking ruined it after that.
Really
oh my
just
god,
shit the bed with that movie. It's so bad. But 1 and 2 are pretty good, and considering the time, like 1 was a nice introduction, and 2 was like a genuinely great superhero movie, really genuinely great bad guy.
It was like a human film, you know, like the characters were like really relatable.
Yeah,
you know, like.
for sure. 3's bad, but that's fine.
You know, but it's funny though. That movie actually made more money than the first 2 combined.
Yep.
Which is just sad.
And just like, superhero movies were peaking, and that movie came out, you know, when that was all happening, and ended up being critically, I think, a disaster. But you know, box office was huge.
Yeah, it had so much hype. Like, I remember there were like even like little video games and shit like for it, like, you know, being a kid and like waiting for that movie to come out. Like,
right.
Oh gosh.
It was like the emo Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that scene's so bad.
With the bell.
When he's got his little emo swoop hair.
Oh yeah, the swoop hair. Yep.
That guy Spider-Man, and he dances. And,
between MJ and what's the other chick, Gwen. Oh my god.
This is, of course, just my opinion. If somebody loves that, that's fine. I just remember watching that and going like, "What did they do?"
What do you think of Deadpool?
Deadpool's fantastic. Deadpool's like a realization of wanting to make a movie that stays true to the comic book and finding a real life actor who can play a fictional character so well, and it just all came together perfectly. I think. And Ryan Reynolds, I feel like at the time was kind of floating a little bit. He was huge in the early 2000s, like with Van Wilder and boy, there's more than that. Waiting. You know, he was huge. He was like, everybody liked Ryan Reynolds. He was really funny. He was good looking. He's like this new comedic lead that everybody's going to like. And then he kind of like started to float a little bit. And then Deadpool happened. It's like, oh, hey, this is exactly how we should use Ryan Reynolds. This is like this. He was born to play this role. It just worked out so well. And those movies are awesome. So
yeah. I mean, and besides the fact that it's just a satire on, the kind of what I just hate about Marvel is like how commercialized it is, the franchise aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like that's probably why I haven't seen like, Black Panther or like anything. It's not even for any reason. It's just I just hate those fucking movies. I hate what that represents.
That's fair. Yeah.
But it's entertainment. People enjoy it. That's great.
For sure.
There's nothing wrong with that. Fuck, we've been going for a while here. Might be not a bad place to wrap it up.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you wanted to discuss, talk about while we were here?
Not necessarily. I mean, we could ramble forever, but these are really strange times, and I hope that people are all right, because who fucking knows what's going on. We're just in like this crazy time of uncertainty, and like everybody's probably struggling with everything. And so, I don't know. If I felt like I needed to sum something up, I'd just be like, hey, check on your friends. Check on people. Because like a lot of us probably aren't okay, which some of us are better at dealing with that than others. So,
Yeah.
who knows when this like pandemic, like time of fear and propaganda and whatever else, like who knows when this is going to end. And we live in a pretty toxic culture anyway. So, check on people. Try to talk to people. Reach out. It's hard, but, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can still get together with people and do things like this, or listen to music, or watch movies, and find things that bring us joy. And get a little fucked up, drink some whiskey, get high, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever brings you joy, as long as it's not harmful to others.
Yes, that's the main message.
Yeah.
To have a good time. When you do your music podcast, always feel free to have me on as a guest. I would love to talk about music.
You're a big hip hop guy, and I will want to cover that. So
Yes.
We will be on to talk about Kanye, and I'll throw in shit like Tribe Called Quest, Outkast. We'll do a whole genre episode.
Bring him back for president.
If we thought Trump didn't have any good policy, boy. Kanye's policy is going to be like, hey, buy my records, guys. They're great.
Yo, I'm just going to lay up this joint. We're going to get this shit started.
Oh, my God.
I ain't saying she a gold digger.
What a time we're living in.
Jesus Christ.
Get a passport, change your name, move somewhere else. Everything's going to be fine. Summer 2021, new residency in another part of the world where people actually care about you.
Fuck the.
Good luck.
Fuck that. Let's board
If you don't like it, get the fuck out. I'm trying. I'm just doing a bit, but also I'm not.
We gotta hop on with Elon Musk and just move to Mars.
Ooh, can I do a quick thing?
Sure.
It's going to be political. You might not like it. I don't
Go for it.
So Elon Musk named his kid something weird, right?
I thought I read that. Do you want to look that up really quick?
Yeah. So it's like the name is actually Kyle, if I'm not mistaken, which is whatever.
Yeah.
No offense to Kyles. That name sucks. Do what I didn't. Change your name. Whatever. Yeah. See, it's X.
Oh, that's right. I did. Yeah. He did the alien.
It's super weird, and it's fine. Again, you can do whatever you want. It's fine as long as it's not harming somebody. Which we could debate whether or not somebody having a name like that is actually abusive in a way. But he posted a thing recently where he said pronouns are stupid.
Oh, I saw that.
Which I don't know if you guys know who Jamil. What's her last name? Oh my God, I should not drink and then try to make statements. She's from the Good Place.
Oh, I never saw that one.
She's awesome. Jamila. God, I'm the worst. Anyway, she's super socially active and super smart and awesome. And there, Jamila Jamil. Yes, Tahani from The Good Place, which is one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. You all should watch it. But she's super socially relevant and super smart. It talks a lot about body image, body shaming, and just being like, hey, be okay with who you are. Don't cover the shit. Just be you. And she's super important. But Elon Musk posted about, he's like, pronouns are stupid. And so she tweeted back at him and said, the guy that named his kid this can't handle they versus there. Okay, shut up. It was fantastic. It was a very blunt, like, if you can force all of us to learn your stupid kid's name, then maybe you can learn to call somebody whatever they want to be called. Okay? It was very important. It's relevant. She's awesome. That's all I got.
Well, I definitely see what you're saying. Like, don't play the game if you can't. Yeah, if you can't play the game. Yeah.
Right. It's not a big deal. Just be kind to people. It's fine. We're all gonna. Well, I mean, we're probably not gonna be okay, but it's fine. Just be kind to people. It's all. Patton Oswalt's wife said, "It's all chaos. Be kind." That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean that's all you really can do in this day and age. Just do your best to be nice to people, be kind to people. I do definitely see like the hypocrisy in that because, I mean from like what you're saying like parental abuse. I don't know if I would necessarily label it as that, but definitely pretty shitty. If anything, very shitty to do to your kid. Well, being someone who's named after their father, like
if you're being raised by somebody who thinks that naming your kid that is okay, but like can't handle somebody who is transitioning, wanting you to or identifies as queer or something in a different way, and expecting you to call them just as a different word. If you can't even handle that, but you want people to call your kid this, fuck off. That guy sucks.
That's double standards. Damn.
That's all I got. If I go any further with any of this, I'm just gonna start yelling intelligibly and demand more whiskey, and it might go weird. So maybe we're at a good point.
We definitely are at a good point.
I'm at a good spot if I try to make somewhat of a point, but if I go any further, I'm just going to sound like a lunatic. So
yeah, that's kind of the problem with alcohol when you get into because you want to get into these later debates, but at the same time you're not in a conscious place to back anything up.
I come across a lot of that as a bartender of people at my bar at 10 o'clock trying to talk about current pandemic, which people just can't not do. Or talk about masks or sexual orientation or Trump or whatever. And so that's what happens. People like to drink and talk about what they can't stop thinking about, which in this culture is obviously those things. And so I just try to tell them what I tell everybody else. Like, if you guys can't be civil, get out of my bar. Do it somewhere else. It's okay that you all think differently. Just be respectful. This shit is all chaos. Just be kind. It doesn't matter that you think differently than I do. It's okay. We can still talk and give a shit about each other.
I think that should be the main message. Is you should, no matter what, you should just be kind. Treat people the same. Yeah. Don't focus your time and energy on these little fucking issues or points of politics or whatever. Just watch films, watch pro wrestling, listen to a good record.
If anything could come of this podcast, and if you want to say what do you think your message was for the last 90 to 400 minutes, however long this has been, watch pro wrestling. It's so underrated. It's silly. It doesn't matter. It's so much fun. It's absurd. I should have been a pro wrestler. I'd have been the best bad guy ever.
Sorry, just one quick tangent before we maybe wrap this up. Did you ever see The Wrestler? That movie with
I did.
What was it? Who's the guy?
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Yeah.
Who should have won an Oscar?
Yeah, for real. That was.
He didn't. They gave it to Sean Penn for Harvey Milk, which he was fantastic in. But I don't think it was really a stretch for him to play that character. It was just Sean Penn being Harvey Milk, which he was great in. That movie's great and super important. But just from an artistic perspective, Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler or Frank Langella in Frost Nixon should have won the Oscar that year. Those two dudes were all-time phenomenal peak roles. I don't know if they'll ever match them, so they should have won. The Wrestler's great.
The Academy never gets it right, They always fuck up.
I don't agree with that. They often fuck up, but I think they often it's people are like, oh well, they chose this for political reasons. It's okay, maybe, but if you look at the body of work they nominate, it's all really great films made by really great people who care about that stuff. And
it's true.
Even if you don't agree with the decision they make or the reason for the decision, the people that make that stuff, the people who film those films and spend their entire life devoting to that craft, they care about those nominations. So it's important. Even if the people running it, you disagree with their motives for nominating and or awarding people. It's the people that do this stuff give a shit about that. And it's a true accolade to win a fucking Oscar amongst those people and their peers. And so, I think it's okay. Even if they get it wrong sometimes, which that's all subjective, but even if they have weird motives or reasons for nominating and or awarding people, I think it matters. Because the body of work that they are nominating are all collectively really great films more often than not. And so
I will agree with that. That's definitely true. I think the only Oscar that I remember being like just objectively really bad was the year the screenwriters went on strike. What was that? That would have been I think that might have been 2008. Want me to Google that one really quick for you?
I feel like
screenwriters strike.
Man, was it really that long ago?
It was a while ago. What was it? Crash? Shit, that might have been 2005 actually.
Crash was like 06. I think Crash won in 06 or 05.
So there have been multiple of them. Okay, here we go.
Which
2007
Crash is
to 8.
widely regarded as one of the worst
Yeah,
picks to win Best Oscar, and because apparently, I admittedly haven't watched it since it came out, so I know that its coverage of racism is maybe problematic and not super accurate, but it was the Academy wanted to be we care about this stuff, let's nominate this film. I don't know. I remember I can't say anything definitively there because I haven't seen it forever, but I know that's kind of the general consensus is that movie actually does a really bad job of covering racism, and the Academy was just that's shit we care about, you're gonna win Best Oscar. I don't know.
More virtue signaling than anything, kind of.
Right.
I do kind of remember that because there were the themes of racism, but it was really kind of weird and off. And
they really aggressively covered race, actually, in a way that maybe a lot of other films haven't. And it was just this movie is about racism, but I don't know if it covered it. Well at all. That's what I kind of understand, is that it didn't. So maybe that's worth a rewatch.
Yeah, well, not really. Crash probably isn't worth
just
a rewatch.
To understand its cultural relevance, maybe a little bit, but nobody really talks about it now. It's just oh yeah, remember that time that the Academies of the Oscars got it super wrong and nominated this shit awful movie that was super wrong about race. I don't know. That's at least the general consensus, I think, but I don't know if it's accurate or not. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I these days I don't really pay attention to that too much. I have so many movies on my list of films I need to watch that the Oscars doesn't even fucking matter. In my mind they crank out that shit every year. I'm never gonna be able to keep up at this point.
I will say that a lot of times the Oscars, the stuff they nominate ends up being some of my favorite movies of the year. But there are other times where 2009, I think was the year District 9 came out.
That was Hurt. Hurt Locker won that year, didn't it?
Yeah, I think those are the same year. Which both of those are phenomenal movies. I think Hurt Locker is incredible, but District 9 is my favorite movie that year, and it only got nominated for I don't know, one of the tech categories. Or visual or design categories. It got nominated for one or two of those, but otherwise didn't really get much plug. And I thought it was the best movie of the year. But Hurt Locker is also fucking amazing. So,
I never saw Hurt Locker.
It's great. Jeremy Renner, PTSD, the effects of military,
dives
intense.
into that quite a bit.
Oh boy, really well on Jeremy Renner's phenomenal in it. So
that'll have to be the next movie to throw on my list.
It's super worth watching. I think American Sniper did another good job of that, which that whole story, we can't even go into that right now. That guy's shit might be super fabricated. I don't really know. But what I do know is that Bradley Cooper did a great job portraying somebody with severe PTSD and what it's trying to...
See, I'm glad... and again, we don't need to get into it, but I'm kind of glad you said that because a lot of people give that movie a lot of flack, and I really enjoyed it.
Just looking at it from a analytical film fan perspective, it's phenomenal. I don't care how accurate the story is. It's a great movie, and Bradley Cooper gives a transcendent all-time performance as somebody genuinely going through shit none of us could ever understand, and the PTSD he is and trauma he has lived through post all of that and what that's like. I think he did an incredible job covering that, even though the story itself might be kind of fabricated.
Well, I just felt like it wasn't people kind of thought it was a pro-war movie, but I didn't really get the vibe of that at all.
No,
I thought it was very anti-war.
Extremely. Because it was all about hey, this person had to go do that stuff, and maybe there's a subculture of people who would see what he was doing as heroic,
Yeah.
What he was doing was causing him like severe trauma.
And it didn't really, everybody knows that conflict didn't really amount to a whole lot in all reality.
And from what I understand, maybe like the guy's actual war exploits were maybe fabricated. But if I recall correctly, again, this is just going to have to be fact checked, but when he got killed, it was him like starting an organization to try to help people with PTSD, because he'd kind of like come through the other side of that.
You want to look that up, Molly?
Help people, and then somebody that he had a part of that group shot him and killed him. I'm honestly like really far removed from actually watching that, and maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. So type in Chris Kyle. What was it? Controversy or like what was it? Fabrication.
Yeah.
Chris Kyle fabrication. Look that.
Well, because he wrote an autobiography-ish.
Yeah.
And apparently, wait, Jesse Ventura's involved? What? Formerly part of the pro wrestling world.
Oh, really?
Jesse Ventura's
unjust enrichment in a trial over a passage in Kyle's book that Ventura claimed was complete fabrication. Oh, so he lost. So he said it was fabrication and it wasn't. And he lost money. He lost $500,000. Or wait, okay, $500,000 plus $1.3 million for defamation.
So that's one instance. Okay. But that's one specific one that maybe got a lot of
so
because Jesse Ventura's involved, who's obviously a public figure. But I think, if I recall correct, I mean here, like new questions cast down on American Snipers, Chris Kyle's, account. I just don't know if his actual story in his book is super accurate. That might be fabricated a bit. He was obviously a decorated sniper, a lot of confirmed kills, but maybe the way that he talked about it or portrayed it in cinematic format was fabricated. I honestly don't know.
That's interesting. Well, shit. We've been going on for a while here.
Yeah. I keep trying to maybe end it, but
yeah, we keep going.
Tangents
That's
happen.
like 2 hours.
So.
It's been a great time as always having J Maxwell Bash.
There he goes
on the podcast. I want to try and get you back on here in a couple months. I'm sure that'll work.
Always available. That's not true. I'm not always available. I am often available.
Yeah. That's you're a good guy to call up and be like, yo, I need something to fill in, so.
Do you need a guy to come on and yell about some things for a while? Absolutely. I'm in. Let's do it.
Good times. All right, buddy. Hope you all been chilling, smoking, having a good time while watching / listening to this. Next week, we will be joined by Austin Blythe and Seth Leopold.
Hey, that's the name of my cat. Leopold.
That's
Sir Leopold.
Sir Leopold.
For those at home who really want to. We just call him Leo. It's fine. He's great.
Good transcendence into the next episode. But no, he's going to be throwing the infamous field trip that's going to be happening in Jefferson, Iowa next weekend. Or no, 2 weekends from now, I should say. So he's going to be coming on and talking about a really interesting episode. So please stay tuned for that. Otherwise, everybody have a good night, all that, and peace out, bitches.